Hi everyone, my name is Samantha, and I recently learned a secret, and quite unexpectedly. This secret could have changed my life before, but for some reason it was carefully hidden from me. But now, everything has become different, and you will understand why. In the meantime, make yourself comfortable, don't forget to put likes, write comments, and subscribe to the channel. Perhaps you have heard about life in ordinary American schools, that there are class divisions. In principle, it is everywhere, I think, but it seems to me that in my school, this sucks more pronounced. Let me introduce you to this a little bit. In my high school class, there are girls like Edna and her entourage, 3 rich friends who are inseparable. They have money, popularity, looks, and boyfriends. They love gossip, dancing, clothes, and taking pictures. Then there are girls like Susie, cute girls. They study well, never wear makeup, and do not meet with guys, or with anyone at all. There are 3 of them in my class. Then there is the majority. Girls from middle-class families. They sometimes do well, sometimes poorly in school. Some meet with guys, some even with girls. They sometimes hang out, sometimes get into anything, but more often, their lives are like Groundhog Day. The same every day. Well, then there are those like me, a hermit. I'm the only one like that here. I don't have good grades, friends, I hate gossip. I don't have a feminine sense of style. I don't care about money. All I want is to be ignored for the rest of my life. You ask why I live a life so boring? It's not boring. It just makes me feel more comfortable. When no one interferes with my personal space, I feel good. Then I do not have panic attacks, and in general, I like to be alone. It's not that I'm not good at making friends, okay? Well, maybe a little. Well, it's not about that now. In general, I've always been like this. My mother often asked me why I didn't go out, walk, or get acquainted with people. And since I've been in high school, she's been asking more and more about guys, if I have anyone. I know she's worried about my orientation, but I have a tradition with this. But how can anyone like a girl who goes around in a t-shirt, top shirt, white jeans, and sneakers? And all the time. I've never worn a skirt, although I wanted to. I keep thinking that I have fat legs, and even though my mother says that I hide an awesome figure, how can I trust my mother's words? I mean, they're not objective, right? As for my father, it's all bad. My dad was never any different. He's so simple, always indulging mother. He works, but I don't even know where. My father is a good man, but he's boring. I have no idea how my mom lived with him for so many years and didn't go crazy. But one day, I learned something. This secret changed my entire consciousness and influenced my future. Once again, my mother asked me why I didn't go to Ellie's party. She was our neighbor. She moved into a new house a few blocks away and gathered all the kids she knew to hang out, but I said I had homework to do. But my mom insisted. She said I should relax a little. Okay, I went there without wanting to. There were a lot of people at the party, all jostling, dancing, but I didn't care for it. I found a spot by the pool, took some punch, and sat down where no one could touch me. Then a guy came up to me. He called himself Alex. We started talking, and after he heard my last name, he asked what my parents' names were. After answering, he began to shake my hand, said that he had long wanted to meet me. I thought he was crazy. Alex ran away and after 20 minutes came running with friends. They surrounded me and began to get acquainted. I didn't understand what was going on and tried to run away from there, but they caught up with me. And when I asked them if they were confusing me with someone else, Alex asked me if I wasn't going to the races. What races? Well, the White Wolf race. Who? They grabbed me by the arm, put me in the car, and took me somewhere. I didn't understand what was going on at all. And then we arrived at this place. A field opened up in front of me. There were so many people there. People cleared the track and stood on the sides. It was a real race without rules. It smelled of burnt rubber and gasoline. We took our seats at the very end and watched. 2 cars were standing at the start, and after the whistle, the fight began. There were dangerous stunts, but in the end, the white car won the black one. out came the winners. My parents. What? Alex happily patted me on the shoulder and said, "They won again. Man, I love your dad." I was in shock. After everyone had left, I went over to them. Can you imagine the look on my dad's face? All my life, I thought that he was this quiet guy, but it turns out that he is not just a racer, but a street racer, and more than that, he is the king of the White Wolf Gang. This gang is engaged in local shady affairs and sometimes arranges this kind of race. And I only found out after 17 years. There was a lively conversation at home. I'm the king's daughter, and in real life I'm a loser? My parents were silent. They looked at me guiltily and explained this by saying that they did not want to involve me in the other side of their lives. Well, no, now you just have to tell me, I told them. Since then, it has been several months. I managed to participate in some of their cases. Once I went back to watch the races. Only I did not go, but I was in the first row. I was introduced to many people, all of whom respected my parents, and it gave me so much confidence. In general, I became more relaxed, changed my style, still wore jeans, cut my hair, and painted my lips red. Now I wasn't on the list of losers at school because I was the king's daughter. Just like that, you're living your life, and then you learn something interesting about your ancestral life. Tell me, have you ever found out a secret about your parents? And how did they react to this?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff, and I'm the son of the richest man in the world. Now, you'll start guessing, perhaps Googling who my father is, but I'll tell you right away that this is not about him, but about me. And I'm not going to brag about my life, much less tell you how my father earns, because I want to tell you about one important experiment that changed my life completely. Well, about everything in order. And while you watch, listen, don't forget to put likes and write comments and subscribe to our channel. A lot of guys are jealous of my life because it has everything you need. I'm not talking about material goods, a big luxury house. I have 2 rooms, a dressing room, my own shower, personal maid, a couple of cars. I never complained about my life, although you'll be surprised, but there's a great deal of pretense in it, from which I have suffered not a little. Here, for example, is my environment. Thousands of messages about dating come to my mail and personal messages a day. There are both personal and fake accounts. I often write about how I just went on a date with someone, just invited this or that girl. I love girls, but I knew perfectly well that they didn't want me, but my money, or rather, not even mine, but my father's. That's about the same thing happens with friends. For many years, I've been constantly surrounded by someone these people call me brother, friend, and then immediately ready to stab me in the back when I have no money left. I don't tolerate betrayal, especially because of the money. Well, I had a friend named Harry. At first, it seemed to me that I would communicate with my own kind, that is, rich children. I would definitely be sure of them because they themselves have money, which means that they are genuinely interested in me. So Harry and I have been in contact for many years, probably as long as I can remember. Among hundreds of friends, acquaintances, I chose him, resorted to the first call when I needed help. I was ready to share cars. I called. I came to solve his show offs, and he had quite a few of them. And at the moment, when I was at a turning point, I was in an accident and couldn't walk for a while. I found out that he was dating my girlfriend. She, by the way, was also not from the poor. It was such a blow to me. I found out about it by accident. They just lit up in a photo at one of the parties of our mutual friends. I had no trouble seeing them in the background. My world collapsed at that moment. My mother and father were very worried. They were afraid that this would affect my health and therefore didn't leave me for a single step. I was really upset and I didn't even want to live anymore. But then I decided to act differently. On the contrary, get on your feet quickly to prove to everyone that I'm a tough nut to crack. I had months to recover and I was successfully recovered. Going back to school was also painful, but I didn't give up. Harry initially avoided me with my ex girlfriend, but I decided to talk to them anyway. They were silent for a long time, didn't know what to say, and then I finally confessed. I wanted to forgive them, but I couldn't. I wanted to hurt them. I slapped my best friend in the face a couple of times and left. I was upset my father decided to send me to Europe for a while so I could forget myself. That's when my new life began. I'd never gone anywhere alone before. This time my father insisted. He said that I should learn to be independent, especially so as to help me to have a good distraction. Upon arrival, I was in trouble. I lost my luggage, and then my phone was stolen along with my bag. Then I was left alone. Was I scared? I almost lost my mind. was about to go to the police when a girl came up to me. I was sitting right on the ground and I didn't know what to do. She gave
Hmm.
me alms. Hey, I'm bored with your handouts. I'm not a bum. I called after her, and she looked at me and said she wasn't blind, but she could see that I needed a couple of dollars for food or travel. She was right. I took the money and ran to her, promising to return it to her, and she smiled and agreed. I went to the market and bought some food. Went to the bathroom, washed up, and had a snack outside. I didn't know where the site was, and I didn't understand the foreign language very well. I walked away completely lost. In the evening, I was hungry again and went to a cafe. I started talking to the security guard, explaining that I wanted to eat, but my things were stolen. I said I could pay with an expensive watch, but he kicked me out. The waitress came over. Hey, it's you, I told her. Excuse me, Monsignor. This is my cousin. He's just arrived. He's not right in the head. I'll keep an eye on him, she told him and led me inside. I resented her calling me that. I'm Sarah, she said, and held out her hand, which I shook uncertainly. She sat me down at an empty table and later brought me hot food and coffee. I ate heartily and thanked her, and then handed her the watch, explaining that there was nothing else to pay for it. But she didn't take it, and she could earn it herself. We sat down, and I told her how I got there, and she suddenly offered help. You can stay with me for a while. I can get you a job here in the cafe. We need a dishwasher. You can save up the money for a ticket back, she said. I didn't like the idea because I'd never washed the dishes. I asked her to borrow money for me to leave and vowed to return it. Oh no, my friend, you have to earn it yourself. And you're lucky in general. I don't offer help to everyone, much less my own home. I just see that you're decent, and so I decided to help, as I helped once. Think of it as just passing the baton of good to you. Next time, you'll do the same for someone else, she said. It all looked strange, but I had no choice, so I agreed. Sarah showed me where everything was, and then brought me home. She had a small apartment, even my room was bigger. She was sleeping on the couch, and I was on the floor. I was hard and uncomfortable because her dog was sleeping next to me. The next day, she woke me up as so early and called me to work. I didn't want to get up. At the cafe, she introduced me to everyone, and then I got to work. At first, I didn't even know how to wash the dishes, but she showed me everything and said, "Hurry up." I was so confused and immediately broke several plates. I was told that they would write off my salary. It was terrible. As soon as I finished washing the dishes, they brought me more, and then more, and so on until the evening. I was already beginning to resent that it was an endless job, and everyone there started laughing at me. After a day of work, we came home. I ate a quick meal and passed out in a second, despite the dog. In the morning, we went back to work. The first week, I went crazy with pain in my legs, back, and I still had my pain in my hands. So I also received from the boss for not washing the dishes properly. At some point, I wanted to drop everything and leave, but Sarah calmed me down and reminded me of the ticket home. This thought motivated me. Already closer to the third week, I became more nimble, even managed to have a snack in between work. Sarah showed me around her city, and we took public transport. I ate fast food, and she helped me clean the house. I told her I was lost, but I didn't tell her who my father was. It turns out that Sarah also came here a few years ago to earn money and help her mother and brother. She sent them money every month, and she lived in the wild. I was just blown away by how she survives every day. Works silently, even on weekends, does not sit idle, and runs to a part time job. I admired her. A couple of days later, I found out that it was her birthday, and I made dinner myself, waiting for her to return from her part time work on the day off. Sarah was pleased, even though my dinner wasn't very good, and she pretended to eat it. In the end, I had to order a pizza. We danced that night, and then we kissed. I realized that I'd fallen in love with her. The next day, the police came to our cafe. They were looking for someone, and my parents were standing behind us. I'll not tell you how it all happened. They decided to take me away, but I didn't want to leave her. Sarah found out about me and refused to go. She felt that she did not correspond to the status of my family, and then I stayed with her. My parents didn't mind, and they saw changes in me for the better, and I finally found a real person.